Alright, now we just have a few more photos to add in to finish off, so let's go up to slide number 1 and we're going to put our very best photo into this nice big spot here on our title page. So let's go back to media, and you do want to be on all photos. So if you were on somewhere else, just click on all photos, and that way we can see all of the photos all in one group and pick the very best one. It doesn't matter that if you've used it before on another slide, just pick what you think is the most exciting. Now this one here I haven't used, and it does look pretty interesting, so let's try that out. We definitely want to kind of minimize the background that we see in the plant. That's not too bad, but if you see people in other parts of the greenhouse, that's not so great. But I'm going to double click on this and I can zoom in, and that will effectively get rid of the background. And one thing to check is if your photo is in focus when you zoom in. When you're zoomed all the way out, sometimes you can't tell if it's in focus or not. But this definitely is, so this would be a good one to use. But let's keep looking, because maybe there's a better one. And again, you do want to pick one that does fill up the screen for the most part. This wouldn't be a great choice necessarily. This could work. Not that exciting of a plant though. Let's see what looks really interesting. The burro's tail could work. That's pretty neat. This one goes up and down, so that wouldn't be so great for this one. But the Medusa's head, I always like the Medusa's head. I think I'm going to try the Medusa's head. And that's pretty great. It's a little bit off center, but that's not so bad. If we wanted, we could try and center it. We'd have to zoom in a little bit just to give us some extra image there so that we could move it over to the left without hitting the edge of our frame. And it is in focus, so I think that's going to be a great choice. Either way. The next spot where we can add some images is on slide 9, which is completely blank. And whether you want to do this or not depends on if you think you've got enough photos, extra photos, that you haven't used already. So I know from before that I had 62 photos in total, and if we take out the tag images, that's about half, so about 31 images, and then we've used 24 so far in these other slides. So that gives me a good 5 or 6 images to choose from. So we're going to pick a template that has a set number of photos in it, and you may want to pick that based on how many you have left. If you don't think you have enough photos left, then you can actually skip this next part. So you and your partner can even count photos or just know that you've been having trouble picking different photos. If that's the case, especially from slide 8, if you found that you had to reuse photos, then probably you don't have enough extra photos for number 9. But you could always just do one big photo if you wanted. So decide if you want to continue. Otherwise, you'll watch the next movie. But if you do want to continue, keep watching this movie. Because we're going to change the master. So over here, we see a change master button. Let's click on that. And so if you wanted, you could do kind of like the title slide where there's one big image. I guess that's really kind of it. Or we could just add one image right in here. But because I have a good 5 or 6, I'm going to pick one that has probably, 3 or 4 extra images. So it's a little bit hard to tell, but this has one bigger image and 2 smaller ones, 3 images, 4 images, 6 images. Or we could go full screen without any space for text. These ones offer you a spot to do a little title, which is always nice to let people know why they're looking at this slide. So I think I'm going to pick this one with 3. 3 extra photos is fine. And I'm going to go back up and try and pick some images that I have not used already. And I know I've used that. I don't think I've used this one. So, and it's a horizontal one, so I've got 2 horizontal ones and 1 kind of square one. So you might want to pick your images based on the shape of the placeholder. So yeah, we can put that one in, to that spot. Let's see, haven't used this one for branching, and haven't used this one either. And that's a pretty interesting plant, the purple shamrock. Alright, so we're done with images. We just may need to adjust them a little bit, especially if you see the edge of the paper. If you've done a paper background, we want to definitely, we can bring this down a little bit, and then we'll need to zoom in a tad and do something like that. That's pretty good. This one's probably fine, and the shamrock, I think that's fine. We're already cutting off bits of the leaves there, so I'll just leave that. Now for adding a title up at the top, we need to add a new text box. So here's our text tool. Click on that. And you may not have noticed, but it actually added this little text box right in the middle of the screen. Hard to see it because it's gray. But we can drag that back up and click inside. And we want to put in something, obviously, that's appropriate. I'm going to put in and I think I'll do a little sort of subtitle, so I'll do a new line. You don't have to do this, but you can if you like. Now to make this really seem like a title for this slide, I'm going to change the size. So over here where it says 32 point, that is the size of our text. And I'm going to type in, I think 72 will be a good big size. There we go. And I can even change the color of that part just to make it stand out a little bit more, especially since we have that subtitle. So maybe red. And if we click outside, we can see what that looks like. We need to save. So let's go up to the File menu and choose Save. Watch the next movie.